is iRacing.
While sadly the home track for the POC is no longer around to race, it's preserved here in the virtual world. Autoclub Speedway's road course will have many good memories for our drivers, and maybe we'll make some more today as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Porsche Owners Club Series. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Alex Goldschmidt. Behind the scenes, our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The oval portion of this California staple is perhaps more well known, so why don't we head down to our track guide to learn more about the road course. Welcome to Autoclub Speedway. Located in a prime location directly east of Los Angeles, it's been used in many Hollywood films. While the oval portion of this track is more well known, the road course has hosted everything from club racing all the way up to top-tier sports cars. The variety in layouts makes it well suited to higher and lower powered cars, as well as everything in between. Of the 3 circuits available, they range between 3 miles and 1.5 miles, but all of them are quite technical and have between 17 and 21 corners. Naturally, the fastest parts will always be those that utilize the oval, but they end in quite heavy braking zones. The infield has some surprisingly difficult corners, such as the hairpin, which starts with a fast chicane and then trips you up by forcing you to brake on a curve. The exit back onto the oval also comes with its own challenges, wherein some cars find themselves losing grip as they pick up speed. Plus, the transition onto the banking can be jarring if you let the car swing too wide. A good handling setup will be critical to your lap times for sure. All in all, the oval might steal the show, but grassroots racing has made the roadside of this venue a valuable track to the area. Fans and drivers are sure to enjoy the racing today. So as far as I'm aware, Alex, only the pit lane and the front straightaway remain of this track, but like we said, at least we have it here in the sim.
Yes, indeed. Hi, Joe. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I mean, it's a real shame. I mean, it ran from 97 until 2023. It's going to be a lot of speed, but also a lot of technicality. I mean, especially going through into turns 3 and 4 at the first of multiple chicanes at the circuit, and then you've got the infield section. But this long oval, which runs, part of the oval, which runs as part of this 20-turn counterclockwise circuit, we're going to see big closing speeds here at the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League, and rather looking forward to it.
I am as well. And before we get to that racing, though, we do want to take a moment to mention our sponsors. That includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Top Gun MG, helping financial advisors be the best of the best. Contact them today at topgunmg.com. That's topgunmg.com. Now, we've had 2 rounds, so we're starting to get a taste of what this championship is going to look like. And the big one is Michael Bolton actually leading the points currently. Dylan Scott missing last race means that he falls down into second by 15 points, which is how much you get for a second place finish. So that's a pretty big margin right off the get-go. With Jad Duncan having a poor race, meaning he is also behind by a bit. This is a good beginning to the season for Bolton. In fact, it is a tie between Heindel, Duncan, and Federico Del Toro at this stage in the season, but we'll be bound to see some ties, of course, with not many races under our belt. But that is just the GT3 standings. Of course, we have the GT4 cars as well here. Alex, how's that one shaping up?
Well, it's been 2 for 2 for Christopher Marciniak at the moment, and he's 13 points ahead of John Mamea. Laurie Haase rounds out the top three. Both Mamea and Haase have at least placed in the top three once. I mean, Mamea has placed second at the opening, the season opener, and P3 in round 2. Jim Garamani could make up some ground here tonight, depending on what happens. And then we got Alan Watts and Matthew Hollander rounding out the 6 drivers that have scored points so far in this second season. But can Marciniak go 3 for 3? Well, we've got a little bit of time to wait and find out.
Yeah, that'll be perfect hat trick to start things off, and will set him ahead by a good margin. But in the meantime, let's talk about what this race itself will entail, as this is another of their sprint rounds. Round 3, as we mentioned, 40 minutes in length. They have 2 classes racing at the same time, the Porsche GT3R and the Porsche GT4 Cayman. And then, of course, they have a 50% fuel tank capacity. So what that means for these cars is they will need a pit stop during the race with that limited fuel cell. So that'll be fun, considering this is a bit of a long pit lane down here. They also have 2 spare cars in case they run into any problems. It's a lot of wide open area in the infield, but there are some walls that you can wind up hitting, especially on that entry into 3 and 4 at the chicane. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully everybody will be able to get away without needing that spare car. Looks like qualifying is actually just about wrapped up, and a healthy 17-car field here today. So Alex, good to see that attendance has actually been rising since the start of the season.
Yes, Joe, particularly with the GTEs, and it's been pretty competitive between the top 6, top 7 in time qualifying. As always, we look to GT4s, which are the more road-based vehicles that we see on this, but it's more the case of GT3Rs. Sorry, thank you for correcting me there, Joe.
No problem.
The GT3Rs. I mean, obviously we've got there's been that recent news update from Porsche Motorsport themselves that the real-life version will become the 992.2 GT3Rs. And then, of course, the plucky 718 Cayman GT4s, which in real life, folks, if you've been trackside at a Porsche Motorsport event, you will know how raucous that rumble is, especially when they drop down the PDK gearbox.
It's a fantastic sound, those flat sixes just screaming past you on those long straights. But today, the straight is going to be started by Dylan Scott on our pole position. And then Michael Bolton will be starting to his outside for the GT3Rs. Federico Del Toro will start in third. Matt Steele in P4. Mark Rondeau on the inside of that third row will be fifth, with BJ Fulton to his outside. BJ will probably be wanting to make some passes here today instead of staying down in that 6th place. Leclerc starts from 7th with Dustin Heindel in 8th, and then Rob Russell in 9th, Jeffrey Shulam rounding out your top 10. And then the last of our GT3R field is wrapped up by Daniel Viverico in 11th. What about our GT4 field out there today, Alex?
Well, it's the number 69 of Matt Hollander that takes pole position in the GT4s for the Porsche Cayman 718. Alongside him on the front row will be the current season leader, Christopher Marciniak. Can he go for 3 for 3 in the number 35? Well, let's see what happens. John Mamea and Alan Watts round out row number 2, and Laurie Haase and Adam Abrams round out your 6-strong Cayman 718 GT4 field here at the Autoclub Speedway.
And it's definitely a little bit later in the evening, as you can tell from the sun so low in the sky, about just past 7 virtual standard time here at Autoclub Speedway. And we should be going pretty close to sunset, I imagine, with how late they are starting this race. Waiting for that Porsche safety car to unleash Dylan Scott, who looks like he's trying to warm up those brakes. Something fierce here. A lot of stop-start as he follows behind that pace car. Now he has been released. What's it going to look like coming down into that first braking zone at turn 3? And they're holding them for quite some time. He has to wait for the green from the flag stand before he's allowed to go. Boy, it's a long hold on these cars. Still not letting them go. And finally, it is out. Green flag for our third race of the season. Dylan Scott with a good start. In spite of that, Bolton is going to be able to slot down to the inside, but look at how wide this track is. They start to fan out immediately.
Yeah, looks like 3 wide going through the opening corner here at Autoclub Speedway. Some taking the low line, some taking the high line as... Oh, this is where we're going to see the GT3Rs really pick up speed, but it's about that braking zone. Oh! That, I think, is Matt Steele that's just gone around at turn 3. We knew the braking zone was going to be tricky, but he's going to have to wait for the whole field to go by.
And that's going to bring out the yellow. Oh, and it looks like we have some other cars in trouble. So it's not just Matt Steele causing that. Dylan Scott also looks like he was off track. Was trying to see who that other car was. I think, oh, BJ Fulton. Interesting. So we already mentioned he was a bit on the back foot with that qualifying. That makes it even worse. And this will cut heavily into our 40-minute race time here today. So cars get backed up, and the Caymans actually did a good job getting around that turned around car in the chicane. It was the GT3Rs that seemed a bit messy.
Yeah, looks like we've also got a full course caution out as well, our first one of the night. I mean, we were thinking, I mean, also BJ Fulton has got the mechanical black flag, so he's going to have to park that into pit lane and may have to use one of his 2 spare cars rather early, but you know, they were carrying a big lick of speed into turn 3, and you could just see how close it was going to be, and it was going to be someone was going to be a little bit too heavy on the brake pedal, and as soon as you do that in these kind of cars, what the back end wants to do is literally swap ends with the front.
Let's take another look at that opening incident now that they've been picked up by the pace car. Looked like maybe a little bit of contact behind. Oh, but it was Dylan Scott getting loose, so our pole sitter. Oh, and then he tried to pull off to the side. Unfortunately, was not clear, and that's how BJ Fulton got collected.
Yeah, BJ having nowhere to go, broadsiding into Dylan Scott, and they both pick up a significant amount of damage. So, well, that's that was a quick aggressive run down to T3, and then all hell broke loose. The cat was amongst the pigeons, Joe, and yeah, can't say I was surprised at that, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got a very limited window to warm up the tyres and the brakes on, particularly the GT3Rs. I mean, the 718s are a little bit easier to get the tyres up to temp, but with these cars that we see competing around the world in such as GT World Challenge Americas, Europe, Asia, and for many of the 24-hour endurance one-off events, such as the 24 Hours of Nürburgring, of course, the Indianapolis 8 Hours, I can't forget about that one, to our folks watching here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a while. Hopefully, we might get things back underway very, very shortly. But we've got about 36.5 minutes of the 40 minutes still to go here. So the field being bunched up. But yeah, bit of a shame there for BJ Fulton, as Dylan Scott got it loose. He just went into the path of BJ Fulton, and Fulton was completely broadsided, and both of them ended up in the pit lane as a direct result. So they're going to have to do a top gear from the rear, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to send them ahead of these cars. Looks like they are. So yeah, they're overtaking many of the GT4s. So they'll be able to at least rejoin their class. That was my big concern. If they had to try and fight their way past those slower class cars, that'll be a bit of a nightmare and cost them quite a bit of time. Very slow pace car, I have to say. That is determined by track and iRacing, and it is doing 35 miles an hour out there. So that will make it quite a long full course yellow here. But hopefully they will shorten it by about a lap, I imagine, once they get around to the start-finish line. Got another look at a replay. Let's see what we're going to take a glance here. So this is on back of Steele, yeah.
So he's going to turn it in, and there is contact, so that's why he turned around, and then and then he tries to rejoin, and then the GT4s go, hang on, we're coming through at full pace. And good thing by Matt Steele to in Roxy, not Rexy, as we all know with regards to the traditional liveries. He gets a bit of a check up there as well as Matt Steele. That was by, I think, Daniel Viverko in the number 4 car. He's just ahead of him. So, and Viverko's livery not too far removed from, I think, Dynamic Motorsport, one of the Italian teams that run in Porsche Carrera Cup, Benelux, Mobil 1 Super Cup, and also in Porsche Sprint Challenge Suisse. And that's a nice looking livery, very much in the form of the Italian tricolor there, Joe.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious if that is Italian or if it's Hungarian. And I'm checking. He's under. So we have flags, but now they can be selected in iRacing by the driver. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're from there. He has Ukraine up there, so that's a big question mark on which one he is paying homage to. His fastest lap just goes to Rob Russell. Let's see what sort of speed he has been unleashing. Looks like a 3:55.5 that time by.
And now it goes to the 266 of Larry Haase in 5th place of the 718s. So yeah, I mean, we're now going to see that a lot of these drivers now starting to weave from side to side. They're just trying to gather things up, get that temperature needed in these tyres. And we've been under caution now for, I think, probably the best part of 5-6 minutes or so here, Joe. So I'm just waiting to see when they're going to let them loose, because if he keeps on staying out like this, we're going to see other drivers, like we saw with Matt Steele just a moment ago, getting a little bit checked up by Viverko going into one of the braking zones on the infield part of the circuit. It is going to be the case of when they let them loose. Right, are we seconds out? Take 2.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a little bit cleaner down into that braking zone. It'll be single file, so that will help out. And as you can see on the screen, the lights are out on the pace car, so we will be going back racing this time by. Excellent news. It cuts down pretty significantly down to, I'm seeing about 32 minutes left right now, so I'm guessing somewhere in the range of about 30 minutes left on the clock. The other interesting thing this will do is this will in fact, open up the pit window by a wide degree. However, we did learn from one of the recent races when they had this happen, Alex, they are required to make a pit stop. So if they think they can make it on fuel, they still have to make a visit to pit lane or they'll be penalized post-race.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's for a splash and dash, if it is part of the sporting regulations, you have to abide by it, and it can be a significant penalty that could be handed to the drivers. Then they'll go, right, well, should have decided to have gone down pit lane, because then, you know, if you end up being the winner on the road and you get, let's say, a 30-second time penalty, where could that stick you? Probably off of the podium.
And big thanks to our producer. Another point was made. Another rule that we learned about was that it must be done under green flag racing. That's the other one that we, I guess, drivers and us were caught out by, was a rule in this series. So they cannot take advantage of this caution to try and take their fuel and sneak by the others. But like we said, we're getting ready to go. We're about halfway through this lap. Already drivers trying to warm up those brakes, warm up those tires, and get going. Look at how dark it is getting as well. As speaking of not being able to pit under yellow, Matt Hollander just did that. Huh.
So it looks like he's possibly had a connection issue with the server, maybe,
Yes,
Joe.
he did.
And that's going to put him on the back foot, and considering the fact he was our pole sitter as well in the GT4 division. So there's going to be he's going to have to really pick up the pace to close in on the rest of the field, to be honest with you. And if he can do that, then he might get a little bit of an advantage, so to speak, in terms of tyre and brake temperature. But yeah, now it's just a case of let's get back to green flag racing, folks.
All right, Bolton's going to lead them back up in the GT3Rs. Meanwhile, Momeyer has the top spot because of those problems for Matt Hollander. So he is going to be leading our GT4 cars back to the line. Looks like the pace car getting ready to unleash Bolton up onto the banking. They can make quite a big thunk onto the ground on that transition, depending on how wide they swing. You'll see what I mean once we get going at full tilt here. And again, it is a long, long hold. They get to the restart zone of what is normally for NASCAR, and he still hasn't taken off. Oh my goodness, are we actually going to get this thing going? There it finally is. Green flag is out, and we are underway. Bolton is going to tow along Del Toro and Shulam as they are very close. And remember, they're going to be going very fast, Alex, so this could behoove them very well to try to sneak attack down into 3.
And as I said, what did I say about Matt Hollander? He has caught and passed the entirety of the 718 Cayman field as the sun is very much setting here at Autoclub Speedway. Down into turn 3 we go again. A little bit of trepidation by one of the drivers. Matt Steele, bumping it. You can see how low the GT3Rs are to the ground as they bump their way through as Alan Watts. Oh, that was a bit too much earliness on the throttle pedal by the number 225. But look at the scramble here. Dylan Scott has got, I think, BJ Fulton to his immediate right-hand side. You now go through the infield section and look at the speed being carried. Incredible stuff. And more to the point, Matt Steele is finding himself between a rock and a hard place. He's got Dylan Scott to his outside. There's an over-rotating GT3R in the background. So Bolton leads from Federico Del Toro. Jeffrey Shulam rounds out the top 3. Robert Leclerc has got BJ Fulton to his outside. BJ still running the old Martini livery that we've come accustomed to over the previous seasons here at the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League. But BJ finds himself all the way down in 10th position. So he's on a bit of a comeback trail as we have 27 minutes. And oh, BJ Fulton loses the back end and hits the high side of the wall.
And here he's already been in pit lane to use up one of his spare cars. So now he's going to have to use another if that's too much damage. And will send him way far behind. Matt Steele back up to 7th. Dylan Scott back up to 8th at this stage. Both of them sent backwards with that opening incident. But Bolton is already about 6 seconds up the road. Speaking of which, nice little battle there between Shulam and Heindel. Shulam comes out with 3rd.
Yeah, Rob Russell was quite close to the back of the 117 going through into turns 3 and 4 as it's side by side. Matt Steele to the inside of Averco. Slight touch, right front to left rear, and the number 4, unfortunately, has a slight rotation as a direct consequence of the slightest of touches.
It's sent backwards a little bit. Meanwhile, we go back to our GT4s. We're not sure if Hollander, who currently you see in the lead, will be given a penalty on that restart. Obviously using that extra speed a bit to his advantage. I'm actually surprised the sim didn't penalize him for that, because sometimes they do have it set up where it, if you are at speed when everybody else is not on a restart, that it'll automatically penalize you. But it looks like that did not trigger for him. In the meantime, we go back to it looks like Matt Steele once again, and yeah, you can really see how those cars just bump over the curb. Speaking of which, Larry Haas. Oh, big fight here coming back onto the oval themselves.
Yeah, Christopher Marciniak finding himself down in 4th position at the moment. The current series leader with 2 victories from the opening 2 rounds. And this is going to be, now slow down penalty, it looks like, for Larry Haas in the 266. So he decides to take the high line as Christopher Marciniak closing in on the number 6 of John Mamea for P2. And then they've got Adam Abrams in the 704 car not too far behind. Marciniak goes to the outside line, maybe to get a little bit of momentum carry, but also possible side draft, bearing in mind that these 718 GT4s, ladies and gents, are production-based vehicles. Marciniak round the outside at turn 3. Would he get it stopped in time for 4? Not quite.
That's going to allow Momire to continue on in 2nd place. Adam Abrams watching behind, trying to poke his nose a little bit down into 5, but nothing happening there at this stage. Larry Haas catching back up already after that slowdown penalty. That's a nice recovery. He wants to get back into that 2nd position where he was before. Back with Steele versus Dylan Scott. Scott's got the inside under braking down into 13, and he's going to be able to slice his way through. That leaves him behind Rob Russell up next. That'll be for a top 5.
Yeah, and we run on board with the number 77 as they go back onto the banking out of turn number 20. Turn number 20. They've look. You can see that they're going below the white and black line. And look at the speed here, folks. 155, 158. We're probably going to be looking at close to 170 plus miles an hour heading into turn 1. Matt Steele, 168. And he's nearly bouncing off the rev limiter as well. Of course, these particular vehicles, you can see hard on the brakes. It's going to be down into first gear. Oh, now who was that just went off? That was the number 7. Rob Russell just dropped it into 3.
I think he was going for a move that did not quite pan out. Oh, Steele's now the one going for a move, and it was both on Jeffrey Schulem, those 2 cars, and it was only Steele who was successful. Instead, it looks like Leclerc has a think about trying to attack Jeffrey, and it's single file through 7 and 8, so he has to back out of it.
Yeah, and, well, sometimes getting your elbows out does pay dividends. But when you're on a tight infield section with a lot of grass runoff and some very hefty concrete barriers to the outer extremities, you've got to watch your line very much here at Autoclub Speedway. But yeah, I mean, Matt Steele will be chomping at the bit to try and close in on Dylan Scott, the 08, and that'll be the battle for P4. So Schulem leads Leclerc and Rob Russell in the battle for P6. Michael Bolton, the race leader, leading by over 4.5 seconds over Federico Del Toro, sets a new fastest lap of the race at 1:32.052. But Leclerc getting the slipstream from Schulem. And the number 710 looking to go towards the outside. This is very brave if he decides to go late on the brakes, but Schulem gets the lower line. That means he's going to carry that momentum through. Leclerc's going to try and get into the slipstream down into turns 3 and 4. They are all 3 of them late on the brakes into 3. No over rotation. We've got a replay picture in picture. That's the GT4 class battle. And someone went straight on at 3. Oh, that was Russell. Russell. Oh, crikey. So Rob Russell's race seems to be going from bad to disastrous at the moment.
Yeah, that was the one that we saw the car kind of up in the distance when we were riding on board. Go a little bit too deep into turn 3. But Rob's still with him. You can see he's on the attack. He's not letting go. That's Schulem, Leclerc, and Russell fighting for 6th out there in the GT3Rs. We're down to 21 minutes and some change left on the clock up ahead. You can see how much Steele and Scott have run away from that group of cars that just a couple laps ago they were battling with, and they're already catching up to Dustin Heindel. This is for a podium position.
Yeah, Dylan Scott took the best part of 7/10 of a second out of the 117 in P3. Bolton, who's got clear air pretty much in front of him, the 127 sets another new fastest lap. Still in the low 1:32 second lap bracket here at the moment. Federico Del Toro, and then Dylan Scott pulls out an absolute flyer. 1:31.859 by the man in 4th position. And now he's closing in on Dustin Heindel. There's half a second. And can he be a little bit braver on the brakes into turn 3, down to 2nd gear, keeping the traction on the back end at its best through turns 3 and 4. And now he's weaving all over the back of Dustin Heindel. And Heindel will get a flash of silver and black in his rear view mirrors.
So here's an interesting note about Scott here. He that lap was the first one that registered for him. Now what happens is if you have off tracks, it will not count that towards your best lap. So all of his laps have been deleted of the prior laps, and you do have an incident limit in this series. Once it's 17, you get a drive-through. That means even if it was just 1 incident per lap there, they're on lap 9. He's halfway through his allotted incident points.
He's going to have to watch his P's and Q's then, here, Joe, because he won't want to have that happen, as we're currently now on lap 9 out of a possible 26. But of course, that will depend on how late these drivers decide to flirt with when they're going to put their cars in for the mandatory pit stop with the 50% fuel limit on the fuel tanks. But this is a great onboard shot from Dylan Scott as he's closing in on Dustin Heindel. The gap is now under 0.2 of a second. It's going to be north of 160 plus miles an hour as you can hear that flat six boxer engine screaming to Nilly about the best part of 8,500 revolutions per minute. Into turn 3, Dylan Scott down into the gearbox, and he's one of the only drivers that I kind of noticed that has actually decided to stick with second gear through into turns 3 and 4, just to maximise the traction and the handling capabilities of the GT3R underneath him.
I'd say based on what we've seen of his speed, it's working out pretty darn well. And we may have had our first driver that has used up too many of those incident points. Daniel Viverco showing as having a black flag. That could also be to a slowdown penalty that was not served soon enough, but we're not sure which at this stage. This is still the battle for P3, and it's actually much farther away from the lead than I anticipated. They're already 13 seconds behind Bolton.
Yeah, I mean, Bolton, as soon as he got the opportunity to have the race lead, he's not given it a second thought. He's just gone, right, I'm going to run my own race. As once again, Dylan Scott closing into the rear diffuser of Dustin Heindel. You can see just how confident Dylan is in the 08. And that gap again, it's going to be coming up to less than 0.2 as they cross the stripe once again. And this could be the opportunity for Dylan Scott. Now, where is he going to place the car? Through the corner, he's going to go high, he's going to go to the mid part of the track and go low. And then he's going to anticipate how Dustin Heindel is going to line up the approach here for turn 3. And at the moment, Dylan Scott, I think, is going to wait and bide his opportunity. And they have started to drop Matt Steele a little bit in the 77. Matt Steele now 2.1 seconds behind Dylan Scott. So this is a bona fide two-car shootout for the final step on the GT3R rostrum.
Yeah, good catch on that with the 77, just not seeming to be able to keep the pace. I'm a bit surprised, though. Dylan Scott's fastest lap is about 0.7 of a second quicker than Dustin Heindel's fastest lap. So he theoretically should have a lot more pace, but almost looks like he's maybe struggling on that oval portion of the lap. Wonder if he's got too much wing in it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's more downforce planted on the rear axle, but he's going to dive to the inside, and that is Scott through. He has a bit of a moment, the tail wagging the dog on the back of the 08. He nearly over-rotated that significantly. But yeah, I think you might be right there, Joe, that Dustin Heindel might have trimmed down the rear wing a lot more in comparison with Dylan Scott, and that's why Scott's a lot more confident in the twisty stuff, and Heindel's got a little bit more of that top speed edge. Look, you can see the gap closing rather quickly as we ride on board with the 117.
Yeah, this really does smack of of the 117 just being that much quicker in a straight line, but he backs out of it before they get to the braking. I think he knows that the jig is up. Look at that beautiful sunset in the background as well. Just the California coast giving us some fantastic views here into the twilight for this third round of the season. Now, will we see Dylan Scott be able to set course for Del Toro and Bolton? He's going to have to make up a ton of time if he does so.
He's going to have to basically put in qualifying style laps now, Joe, to try and have any modicum of opportunity to close in to Federico or Michael. And the thing is, they both managed to get away rather quickly when all the madness behind was happening, when Matt Steele had that slight amount of contact into turn 3 on the opening lap, which brought out our only full course caution, with the pace car being brought out as well. Robert Leclerc closing in on Rob Russell. Now this is the battle for P7, and Robert in the 710. Bright green 992 GT3R. Closing in on the number 7 in front of him. And again, it's just going through into turn 19. Robert Leclerc absolutely flew over the curbs with the left side tyres, and the car nearly got some air underneath it. So he was very lucky he got away with that one, because any more of those, any more height on that left side going up into the air, it could have caught underneath the underbody.
I'm impressed at how aggressive they're being on some of the curbs at this track. They don't look that tall, but they are bouncing them around. Big defensive move from Rob Russell coming down into 3 this time, but Leclerc wasn't able to get it. There's another one of those big bounces over the curbs, nearly two-wheeling it. But again, just doesn't have enough straightaway down into 5. Very different lines between the pair of them through 5 and 6.
Yeah, that was nearly Robert Leclerc missing his braking point completely, and could have accidentally, inadvertently T-boned Rob Russell at that point. But Russell seems to be a little bit steadier through some of the turns. But then, as soon as Robert Leclerc's able to put down the power, he can quite quickly close on in. And I think now that noticing the gap between Dylan Scott and Federico Del Toro has dipped underneath 6.7 seconds for the first time in the last couple of laps. Meantime, 718 GT4 action. Matt Hollander leading the way ahead of John Mamea. Oh!
Whoa!
How close did Leclerc want to be to Rob Russell's rear wing on that one? That was pinch and go between either. Well, Roberts managed to activate the wipers whilst having that late brake moment. Oh dearie me! Yeah, it's dark. It's not raining yet, Rob. Just watch out for your button pressing.
I was going to say, like Calvin Fish likes to say, maybe was all arms and elbows inside there. He just triggered the wrong button there as he was trying to recover.
Oh yeah, but they're now catching some of the GT4 traffic in front as well, which I think looks to be the 225 of Alan Watts. That is going to be the first car that they're going to have to make their way through on, and it's going to be a case of, you know, picking your moments, as they both have to get around the 225 rather quickly to continue their battle, which has been slightly broken up by having to negotiate backmarker traffic. But it is the case that Matt Hollander in the number 69, with that wonderful Team USA livery, the pullover, the pullover on a banner there, and Matt Hollander is now coming into pit road for GT4s. John Mamea, 2 wheels on the grass whilst under braking into pit road. That could have turfed him straight into the left-hand side wall on the pit road. Marciniak now pits from P4. And that now means that Adam Abrams might be going for the 3000 IQ strat here, as Michael Bolton in the 127 continues at pace. But look at the gap between Federico Del Toro and Dylan Scott, Joe. It has halved.
Holy cow, that is massively impressive between them. So Dylan Scott knows he's got the speed. He's still not giving up on this one. And as we saw from some of our GT4s, we are still owed a pit stop by almost everybody. That said, I noticed that BJ Fulton came in what looks like 8 laps ago now, and has taken his spare car, but it was 1.4 seconds. So that may have been the splash and dash that we were expecting cars to need. I'm not sure if that'll get him to the finish, though. This is Marciniak, who is back out after his stop, still sitting in 6th place. Our front row starter has not been having the race he was hoping for.
No, but he's got to try and see if he can get through on John Mamea and the number 6 car just up ahead of him. So we're still waiting for Abrams, Haas and Watts to come into pit road for their mandatory stop. And at the minute, well, Bolton hasn't pitted, neither has Del Toro. You know that Dylan Scott has taken a trip down pit lane for 4.5 seconds, so that may have been his splash and dash, maybe.
That was under caution, I think.
That would have been the caution earlier, sorry.
Yeah.
So he will still do another one, but we've got a replay here. Old Matt Steele. Now, what has happened here? The 77 had dramas in Roxy earlier on, and that is going to be an attempt up the inside of the 117 of Dustin Heindel. So Matt Steele, that was a beautiful tee-up, and Heindel really couldn't fight it. Well, meantime, Heindel's fired back at him, and Steele goes right round the outside, throws the good old Slim Shady and the Hail Mary to boot, and Heindel unable to capitalise on it. But the biggest thing that I'm noticing here, Michael Bolton has been lapping quicker than Federico Del Toro, Dylan Scott has got that gap down to about 3 to 3.2 seconds. Looking at the, lap times, Scott, as I said, needs to do qualifying style pace right now as we're into the final 10 minutes of the race, Joe, to have any chance of getting higher than a P3 finish in this race.
Yeah, it's looking a lot more distant there for Scott for a win, but maybe a P2 for him. We're watching Marciniak now up to 5th. It looks like Alan Watts has since taken his pit stops. That, of course, gives one more position to Marciniak, but we're still waiting on Haas and Abrams to take their pit stop as well. So our highest driver to have stopped in the GT4s is Matt Hollander right now. He is currently the highest on his strategy. Still waiting on Bolton and Del Toro, as you mentioned, to take their pit stops. We're anticipating that it will be very, very short in their pit stall. Worth noting, actually, Momeyer was in his stall 2 times as long as any of the other GT4s. So unfortunately, looks like he has got his calculations wrong on his fuel.
Yeah, and that sometimes is the difference between taking a win, maybe taking P3. But sometimes, you and I have done plenty of broadcasts, Joe, whereby I've actually had it where someone was meant to do a splash and dash and forgot to uncheck the tyre change box on iRacing.
Oh.
So what would have been a 5-second pit stop ended up being 25.
Exactly.
So it can happen, folks. It can happen. But yeah, I'm wondering to see how much longer it's going to be. Now, Scott has got that gap down. It's getting closer and closer to about just over 2 seconds. So Dylan Scott, and there is Federico Del Toro just up ahead of him. So Scott has been on an absolute mission to chase down the man who's currently currently 4th in the standings. Dylan Scott, of course, took a win at the season opener. Was he with us last time out at round 2? I'm not sure if he was, but this will help keep him close in the fight with Michael Bolton at the sharp end of the GT3 standings.
Yeah, he did miss last round. If you show up for the race and you start the race, you get at least 1 point. Even if you DNF, if you finish the race, you get at least 2 points in this series. Nice job dealing with the traffic there from Dylan Scott. Decisive moves, knowing he's got to keep up with Federico Del Toro, and he is hustling that car. It's down to 1.7 seconds now. Time is running out. I almost wonder if it is worth him trying for some sort of undercut so that he can just simply leapfrog him.
I kind of agree with that sentiment, Joe, but I'm also thinking there might be another strategy that he might try and cover off Del Toro going at the same time, and it could be the race in the pit lane, or he might want to get the move done out on track. I mean, you can see that Bolton is now 10 seconds up the road, so he's on course for a second successive victory in 2 rounds, but it's about what Scott and Del Toro do now, and who is going to be the first one to blink going into the pit lane, as our leader is now in pit road. So Michael Bolton, the current overall series leader, and Federico Del Toro. Scott, I think, yep, Dylan Scott, you were right about the undercut. He's gone through, and now he takes the race lead with 6 minutes still remaining, but he's still got to do his mandatory stop. I'm wondering how long it's going to take for Del Toro, Bolton et al. To, how long are they going to be on their marks in pit road? Because if it's a quick stop, like say a couple of seconds, fine. But Dylan Scott has got to wring the neck of that 4-litre flat 6 boxer engine. Michael Bolton, how long is he going to? 6 seconds. 6 seconds. He's stationary for.
Del Toro, on the other hand, just now gets to his box. And that is also going to be about 6.9 seconds. So it looks like we're looking about 6 to 7 second range for the fuel. Matt Steele, 7.3 for him, further solidifying the data. He'll be back out onto the track. So as it stands right now, Michael Bolton, our former leader, is the highest driver to have pitted. He sits in 4th. Scott Heindel and Leclerc still owe us a stop. And this is Scott on screen right now. Will he pit this time, or will he try to stretch it just that little bit longer?
He could be close on fumes, depending on what he's going to do now. But looks like, let's see, he's going to dive into pit road this time, Joe. And I would imagine that Heindel and Leclerc might do the same. So hit the pit lane speed limiter. So it's going to put Heindel, if he carries on, and Heindel has gone around for another lap. This could be a very brave strategy for Dustin Heindel here, Joe, because we've only got 4.25 minutes. Marciniak and Abrams are battling away for P4. Oh!
I think that was some contact there.
Steady, boys.
Do have to watch out. The radiator is on the front of these machines, and you can wind up causing them to overheat. Wound up seeing that number of times this past weekend back at Road America in the real Porsche Sprint Challenge. But Adam Abrams still ahead of Marciniak after that. Del Toro is going to get a spot from Shulam, who looks like he's got a black flag. I wonder if that is from speeding on the entry into pit lane. Oh, man.
But the undercut has worked for Dylan Scott. He's ahead of Federico Del Toro, but Del Toro is at full racing speed with just under 3.5 minutes to go here, Joe. So this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, Dylan Scott was only on his marks in pit road for 5.2 seconds, so that extra lap has not has actually been to his betterment rather than his detriment, so to speak. And I did say he'd have to put in those quali-style laps, and he's definitely delivered on that.
Indeed. And yeah, that one lap of being freed up put him 3 seconds clear. Now, of course, like you said, about a second or so of that was down to him being quicker in his pit stall, but it has worked a treat. Unfortunately for him, 2.5 minutes left, and he's got to make up 9.5 seconds to catch Michael Bolton. I feel pretty safe in saying, unless Michael has a spin, I don't think Dylan's getting him.
No, I mean, Michael's going to want to get that car home more than anything, Joe. And that's going to be the key point. Adam Abrams has just overshot the... he's got off the runoff area at turn 3.
Tried to take the oval.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Mum, look at me. I'm on the other part of the track. Oh,
so
dear.
He'll lose a lot of time for that one. Unfortunately, falls down to 5th. Haas gets by. Marciniak's back up onto the podium. After that, Heindel returns after his pit stop. Matt Steele, though, sneaks by him. So Dustin only 5th. Steele back into 4th. Del Toro with another podium potentially here today. After everybody has now finished their pit stops. I say that, but BJ Fulton's was 15 laps ago. Was that under green is the question.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was under green flag conditions. So, because he had the mechanical black flag, didn't he? I think he did. Yeah, because there was the moment when Steele went off and he broadsided him through no fault of his own. Just had to avoid, and it can just take one wrong moment for a car to lose traction. And if you're the driver that's having to make that split-second decision on whether you go left or right, and unfortunately for BJ, it's not panned out as he would have liked. I mean, he was P2 last time out, but it looks like we're on to the white flag lap here, Joe, with about 50 seconds on the timing left, and Michael Bolton is going to pick up another cool 20 points. This is going to help Dylan. Well, this is going to put him on 55. After this race, of course, for the series, I think there are 4 drop scores, I think, if I remember correctly, Joe?
Yes. Or no, 2 drops, I believe. Yeah. So, but interestingly, it took until the final round of last season for Bolton to finally stand on the top step of the podium. This time, not only has he had the second in the first race, like you mentioned, he won last race. He's going to go back-to-back here at this rate. He does have a little bit of traffic in front of him coming up into the difficult braking for the hairpin. at turns 9 and 10. He'll make it out the other side. I think that's Adam Abrams. It's a definitely difficult part to try and get by that car, but Abrams stays off the racing line, and the 127 is through. The gap did come down a bit. Dylan never gave up on it. It's down to about 8 seconds, but it was just too much to catch up. That mistake at the start of the race has cost Dylan Scott in the end. And Michael Bolton picked up the pieces. He is going to go from starting on the front row to victory here today at Autoclub Speedway. Excellent job by Michael Bolton.
Yeah, not a mistake made by the number 127. And despite not being with us at round 2, it's going to be a cool 15 points for Dylan Scott, who's going to take second place. And Federico Del Toro will hit the podium for the first time this season, placed P5 in the 2 opening races. Matt Steele picked up a 4th place. He's going to do the opening round. He's going to do it again here at Autoclub Speedway. But, well, Christopher Marciniak's streak is going to very much be broken, as Matt Hollander didn't make an appearance at the opening round, but last time out finished 6th in the GT4 classification. This time, with that interesting strategy after the full course yellow and the safety car, Matt Hollander in the number 69 will pick up the win here at round 3 at Autoclub Speedway in the GT4 classification.
An excellent job by John Momeyer. He's been on the podium every race with this finish. I think he'll be the only driver in the GT4s that will have managed that, since Marciniak is only going to get a 4th today. That is unusual for him. Usually he's been in good form lately. Larry Haas getting himself a well-earned podium to spray a little champagne. So that is pretty much our field done with that one. Some surprising results out there today as we see Marciniak go across the line. Let's go through our finishing results for this one, with at least 16 cars, I think, getting to the end. No, it looks like only 15 of them are going to be able to take the checkered flag on this race. And at the top of them, it is Michael Bolton, your winner. Dylan Scott did his best to chase him down, did collect a good amount of points for second, so that's good news for him. And how about our current reigning GT4 champion, Federico Del Toro, with a podium here today. Matt Steele finishes in 4th, and Dustin Heindel was 5th. Robert Leclerc 6th, and Rob Russell in 7th. BJ Fulton was P8, another driver that maybe was hoping for just a bit more on that one. Jeff Shulam, last of our GT3s to actually finish, as Vaverco and Rondeau were DNFs. What about our GT4 finishers here?
Well, Matt, it was the number 69 of Matt Hollander that picks up the win in the GT4 classification for the Porsche 718 Caymans, winning by nearly 16.7 seconds ahead of John Momeyer, the only driver so far here in this season to score 3 podiums across the board. So that's 2 seconds and a third for the number 6. Larry Haas takes 2nd podium in a row, rounding out the top 3, as championship leader Christopher Marciniak will have to settle for 4th position. A difficult one for the number 35, but I'm sure that he'll be over the next few rounds of this 2nd season here of the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League that will be able to get back on winning ways. Adam Abrams and Alan Watts round out your finishing order. All Cayman GT4s making it to the checkered.
Looks like our winner's ready to chat with us. Michael Bolton getting his 2nd of the season and his 3rd win in the last 4 races. An impressive streak, Michael, but let's talk about the start, because what better sight than the seas parting and seeing nothing but clear track in front of you at lap 1.
How's it going, Joe? That was quite a interesting lap 1. Dylan he had pace on all of us by quite a big margin. But I think we've had more safety cars and yellows this season than I think we've ever had. So kind of getting used to it. Gives me a second to kind of slow my breathing down and get back into the rhythm. And Mark Rondeau and I, years and years ago during COVID, we were doing some team racing here with the POC. So that was a lot of fun, and I was really looking forward to racing with him on the restart. And then he ended up dropping. So, but end all, good result.
Now, obviously, as you said, Dylan had a lot of speed. At what point did you feel safe with the win? Because we could see him gaining, but we pretty quickly realized it didn't look like he had enough to catch you. Did you feel safe at any point?
Before the restart, I knew that it was going to be tight. Everybody was going to be bunched up, and he can make his way through the field pretty quickly. So I was definitely nervous there. But I do know that the tire deg on this track is pretty high. So I felt like if I could kind of hold him back, around 8-9 seconds, I think by the end of the race, even if he was within that 4 or 5 second margin, I think I would have been okay. But yeah, my tires at the end started kind of going away. I think so did his. So it was one of the more less eventful races for me. But yeah, just super happy to take this win, and good start to a really new season, and hopefully I can finish the season with a nice championship.
Well, and lastly, pour one out for Autoclub Speedway, not getting to go and race here in the real world anymore. Is this one more meaningful with this having been kind of the home track for the POC for a lot of years?
That's a great question. I mean, honestly, it always will be. A lot of great memories here. Same with Willow. But yeah, this track in real life will be missed. But I'm glad that we can still virtually come log in here and still, reminisce on those good laps turned here at Autoclub Speedway. So just want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, and yeah, let's hopefully keep this car on the podium and see what we can do towards the end of the year.
Congratulations. That was Michael Bolton taking another win back-to-back here in round 2 and round 3. Up next, I believe Alex has caught up with Matt Hollander, our winner down in the GT4s.
Well, Matt, firstly, congratulations on the victory in the GT4 side of things. Wanted to talk about the great tactic that you had when we had the full course caution and the pace car out. You got up to full speed, and literally within, I think it was 10 seconds of the restart when we went back to green flag, you literally flew past everyone else like they were standing still. Just talk us through that, because I understand there was a slight issue at that point when we had the full course caution out.
Unfortunately, driving the sims and everything else, sometimes the internet connection drops. So I was able to exit out of iRacing, get back on quickly, and because of how slow the pace lap is at Autoclub, was able to come flying out of the pits and catch up to the back of the pack. So I guess it was a lucky break, but at the end of the day, I think I had the pace regardless. So.
I mean, also it's really good when you get that first win of the season, and it puts you in a good frame of mind, doesn't it?
It does, and Autoclub's one of those tracks that's pretty special to me. Was one of the first track, actually was the first track that I raced on with POC many years ago, and actually got to have the track record here in the Spec Boxers, with the track as it was demolished. So that's going to live on forever.
It's always nice to have those memories, but to still be able to relive those days of way back when, to come back onto iRacing and still see that this track is very much loved by a lot of people.
Well, that's the beauty of the iRacing server, right? We get to enjoy things that may not be around anymore. But Joe probably remembers when we first started this league. We had gotten Patrick Long to come on and do our virtual tribute to Le Mans here at this track. So it's a special track to POC. We've ran a lot of real in-person, endurance races here. So it was quite fun to reunite.
And how does it feel to finally be the first person to break Christopher's win streak, because he picked up the wins in the opening 2 rounds of season 2?
Well, I think we've got Laguna coming up next, and that's another track that I'm actually going to be driving here in a couple weeks. So he's going to have his hands full if I stay in the GT4s. The guys are trying to push me into the GT3s, but we'll see. I like the mid-engine platform.
Well, once again, congratulations on getting back to victory lane, Matt. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, my friend?
I'll give a shout out to the POC and my girlfriend Lexi for putting up with me and allowing me to jump on and ruin dinner. So it's all good.
Brilliant. Matt, thanks a lot for your time, and we look forward to seeing you the next time out at Laguna.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Well, the good news is he can tell her that he brought home some champagne for dinner, I suppose. But let's
Definitely
close
the case there.
Yeah. Let's close things out once again with a thank you to our sponsors for the series, Porsche, there is no substitute, and Top Gun MG, helping financial advisors be the best of the best. Thanks to the team today, Alex, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. Like we said, next time, Laguna Seca will be the next round, Monday, August 25th at 10 p.m. Eastern. So that should be another fun one, as have got to go there a couple times in real life now, and it's a fantastic track. Up next, though, we do have Grand Prix Legends going to Spa later this week. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts, but until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.